When your cat wakes you up at night for food, do you actually know how they actually expect to be fed? Yes, it feels demanding, maybe even annoying, but behind that nighttime feeding habit, there's something deeper that most owners completely miss. Because for cats, nighttime is not just another part of the day. It's when their instincts become strongest, their emotions become louder, and the way you respond during those quiet hours can either build trust or slowly create anxiety and dependency without you realizing it. It's one of the biggest mistakes cat owners make every single night. And if you respond the wrong way, which most people do, you might accidentally train your cat into stress, sleep disruption, and behavioral problems that get worse over time. Let's start with what nighttime feeding really means. 1. The problem isn't hunger. Have you ever noticed your cat acting perfectly fine all evening, then suddenly becoming desperate for food at 3 a.m.? Most people think it means their cat is starving, but here's what's actually happening. Cats are naturally crepuscular animals. That means their brains are biologically wired to become most active during dawn and dusk. So when your cat starts pacing, meowing, or pawing at your face in the middle of the night, it often isn't true hunger at all. It's activation. Their instincts are turning on. And here's where most owners get it wrong. The moment they get up and refill the bowl, they accidentally teach your cat something powerful. If I wake my human, I get rewarded. Think about that for a second. Your cat isn't manipulating you, they're learning a survival pattern. And once that pattern locks in, it becomes emotionally difficult for them to stop. And by the way, if your cat suddenly stops asking for food at night after doing it for years, don't ignore that. We'll come back to why later, because it can mean more than most owners realize. And hey, if this makes sense to you, hit like and subscribe. It helps us reach more cat lovers who actually want to understand what your cat is really saying. 2. Your cat's brain is learning your routine. A 2021 study on animal cognition and feeding anticipation found that domestic animals quickly build emotional expectations around predictable reward timing. Here's what that means for your cat. If you consistently feed them after nighttime meowing, their brain starts linking vocalization with emotional relief and reward, not just food, relief. That changes the entire behavior. What makes this even more meaningful is that cats are extremely routine-oriented creatures. Predictability makes them feel safe. So when nighttime feeding becomes inconsistent, sometimes food, sometimes rejection, sometimes attention, it creates confusion and anxiety. Behavioral scientists who study feline routines have observed that inconsistent reinforcement actually strengthens demanding behaviors. In other words, the randomness makes them try harder. That's why some cats escalate from gentle meows to scratching doors to knocking things over. Here's what most people don't realize. Your cat isn't trying to dominate you, they're trying to stabilize a routine that emotionally makes sense to them. And the clearer your boundaries are, the safer your cat actually feels. 3. Nighttime feeding quietly disrupts their natural rhythm. Have you ever noticed your cat sleeping all day, then becoming wildly energetic at night? Most owners assume that's just how cats are, but here's what's actually happening. Free feeding late at night or constantly rewarding nighttime wake-ups can slowly distort your cat's natural activity cycle. Instead of using nighttime energy for hunting-style play, exploration, and short bursts of movement, they begin centering their activation around food expectation. That changes their entire nightly rhythm. A 2020 feline behavior study from the University of Lincoln found that structured feeding schedules combined with interactive play significantly reduce stress-related nighttime behaviors in indoor cats. And emotionally, that matters more than people think. Because cats don't just need calories, they need sequence. Hunt, catch, eat, groom, sleep. That pattern is deeply embedded in their nervous system. So when feeding becomes emotionally chaotic, the cat's sense of security becomes chaotic too. 4. Your cat is following ancient survival wiring. Here's where it gets even more powerful. Wildcats survive by conserving energy during vulnerable hours and becoming alert during hunting windows. That instinct still exists inside your house cat right now, even if they sleep on a soft blanket all day. Nighttime activates something ancient in them, and kittens learn early that food access equals survival. In the wild, missing feeding opportunities could literally mean death. So when your cat wakes you repeatedly for food, part of that behavior is connected to deeply inherited survival urgency. Think about that for a second. Your cat is carrying instincts thousands of years old into your bedroom. But domestic cats adapted something fascinating. Instead of hunting alone, many now emotionally integrate humans into that survival system. You become part of their emotional ecosystem, their predictable provider, their secure territory. That's why nighttime feeding habits can become emotionally intense so quickly. To them, it isn't just about a bowl, it's about security.
5. The biggest mistake is feeding without engagement. This is where most owners accidentally damage the balance. They feed the cat at night, but ignore the instinct driving the behavior. Cats don't just want food, they want completion. Have you ever noticed how much calmer your cat becomes after active play before dinner? That's because play mimics hunting, and studies on domestic feline enrichment consistently show that cats who engage in prey-style play before evening meals sleep more peacefully and show fewer nighttime disruptions. What makes this deeply meaningful is that your cat doesn't do this routine with just anyone. They build it with trusted humans. You are part of their emotional ecosystem. So when you respond thoughtfully, structured meals, evening play, calm consistency, your cat interprets that as stability and protection, not control. Protection. So when your cat wakes you up at night for food, they're not simply being annoying or greedy, they're responding to instincts, routines, emotional patterns, and survival wiring that run deeper than most people realize. And the biggest mistake most owners make is assuming the answer is just more food. Sometimes what your cat actually needs is structure, play, predictability, reassurance, because nighttime feeding was never just about hunger. That's not manipulation. That's your cat trying to feel safe in a world they only partially control. And that small moment in the dark, the paw on your bed, the quiet meow, the walk toward the food bowl, it was never small to them, and it shouldn't be small to you either.